Cena remembers getting spiked over and over, which cost him a year of wrestling. Solo walks down to the ring, glaring at Cena, trash-talking on the way. Cena keeps his eyes on Solo as he walks up the steps, and right when he gets on the apron, Jacob Fatu attacks Cena from behind. He holds Cena's hands behind his back, and Solo hits a solo spike before Sikoa and Fatu pick him up and hit a double powerbomb. Sikoa and Fatu turn their sights to Seth Rollins, and Rollins fights valiantly, but gets spiked and double powerbombed. Jay comes over and squares up to his family, but he can't overcome the two, and he gets powerbombed along with Sheamus. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa are running the Royal Rumble. They look toward the ramp as the clock ticks down, yelling, "Who's gonna stop us?" And out comes number 26, Roman Reigns. The crowd erupts with joy, and Sikoa and Fatu stare toward the ramp, but Roman isn't there. Roman walks through the crowd, jumps the barricade, and hits a Superman punch onto Fatu before another Superman punch to Sikoa. McIntyre goes after Roman. He still has sour grapes about Clash at the Castle, but he gets hit by a Superman punch too. Braun Breaker squares up to Roman Reigns, but before they can fight, Fatu and Sikoa hit both men from behind, before Breaker and Reigns rebound off the ropes and hit simultaneous spears onto Sikoa and Fatu. Breaker tries to eliminate Solo on one side of the ring, while Reigns takes Fatu to the other. Reigns slowly lifts Fatu to his feet and slowly tries to lift him over the top rope, but Fatu fights out of it. It looks like Jacob Fatu will survive until Seth Rollins comes over to Reigns, hits a super kick on Fatu, and Reigns and Rollins clothesline Jacob Fatu over the top rope to eliminate him. Reigns and Rollins look at each other afterwards, teasing a huge fight until Breaker spears Roman. Rollins punches Breaker back, then Jey Uso hits a super kick, and Rollins hits a curb stomp. Rollins and Uso throw Breaker over the top rope where he lands on the apron, and he defends from Rollins and then defends from Uso before Sheamus comes in and hits a bro kick that eliminates Braun Breaker. Sheamus celebrates and turns around into a Claymore from Drew McIntyre. The countdown starts and McIntyre kips up and awaits the next competitor, number 27, CM Punk. Punk sprints to the ring to meet McIntyre, and they have the big punch spot before Punk hits a knee to send McIntyre into the corner. Punk hits his jumping knee into the corner, then hits a bulldog out of the corner. He gets to his feet and comes face to face with John Cena. Big pop for this one. Solo Sikoa gets in the middle of the two and yells, "I'm the tribal chief! I'm the special boy!" And then gets speared by Roman, who tosses Sikoa over the top rope to eliminate Solo Sikoa. Roman sees the moment and just steps back and lets Punk and Cena wrestle for a good minute because everybody wants to see this. After a wild back and forth, Punk gains the upper hand. He is the fresher man after all, and out comes number 28, Randy Orton. Orton has recovered from his pile driver and is just happy to be here. Orton runs to the ring and gets picked up by Punk for a GTS, but slips over his back and hits an RKO when Punk turns around. Seth tries to curb stop Randy as he's getting up, but Randy dodges, spins Seth around, and hits an RKO. Maybe they even do the spot from Wrestlemania 31 for old time's sake. Why not? Jey Uso tries to run in for a spear, but Randy catches him into a power slam, then picks Jey up, takes him to the ropes, and throws him out of the Rumble. A little confused why he's getting booed. Randy turns around to see John Cena staring at him, but before they can fight, Orton gets taken out by a spear from Roman Reigns. Reigns and Cena come to blows and fight for a bit. Reigns goes for a Superman punch, but Cena catches him out of midair and hits an AA. Cena stands tall and panders to the crowd, and out comes number 29. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. John Cena sees Joe Hendry and makes a really funny face. That's my genie's booking right now. Cena is just perplexed who this man is and why the crowd is clapping and singing his song, and he makes a really funny John Cena face. Hendry gets into the ring, immediately poses towards the hard cam and claps before fighting John Cena. Hendry bounces off the ropes and hits a discus clothesline to Cena, which knocks him down. He looks towards the corners and hits running clotheslines on Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Randy Orton. Isn't the Rumble awesome? He comes face to face with Sheamus and gets picked up for a white noise, but slips out and hits a neckbreaker. Hendry gets up and sees Drew McIntyre staring at him. These two exchange some words before exchanging some blows. McIntyre tries to hit a Glasgow kiss, but Hendry ducks and lifts McIntyre up for a standing ovation before getting his own standing ovation from the crowd as everyone else is down. The countdown starts for number 30, and oh my god, the final entry of the Royal Rumble is The Rock. The Rock takes ages to walk to the ring and comes face to face with Joe Hendry. Hendry gives him a smile and a clap clap, and then The Rock hits his face punches and hits a big spine buster on Hendry. The Rock hits a crazy people's elbow and then clotheslines Hendry over the top rope to eliminate him. Sorry, Joe Hendry. The Rock just does not get your gimmick. We're down to a star-studded final 8, and anyone can feasibly win. The Rock turns around and comes face to face with CM Punk. They exchange some words, and I'd really like it if Punk called The Rock Dwayne before they come to blows. They fight, and Punk pushes The Rock into the turnbuckle, goes for his jumping knee, but The Rock blocks it with his arm and throws him down for a rock bottom. Sheamus tries to hit a bro kick, but The Rock dodges, throws him into the corner, and hits a flurry of strikes. The Rock turns around and then sees his old rival, John Cena. They stare and really let the crowd get into it. They have a pretty long sequence, which ends in The Rock kipping up and hitting a rock bottom during a 5-knuckle shuffle. Do you think he can still do a kip up? I'm going to pretend he can. And then The Rock comes face to face with Seth Rollins. But before they can fight, Reigns hits Rollins with a spear and gets into The Rock's face. By this point, these two are arguing over who the real tribal chief is, and presumably the final boss was the mastermind behind Solo and the New Bloodline. These two stare at each other for like 20 minutes because of aura, and then they lock up and wrestle. After a long back and forth sequence, Roman hits The Rock with a spear, then Punk flies from the top rope with a flying elbow drop, and finally Cena hits a 5-knuckle shuffle that makes The Rock get up staggering. Roman grabs The Rock and clotheslines him over the top rope to eliminate The Rock. Roman stares at his cousin, points his finger to the sky to get everyone in the arena to acknowledge him, and then Seth Rollins tips Roman over the top rope out of nowhere to eliminate Roman Reigns. Roman stares back at Seth, who does a smug little laugh, and Roman just shakes his head. Randy and Drew are fighting in the East corner, Cena and Sheamus are fighting in the West, and Rollins turns around to see CM Punk staring at him. Rollins stomps to the center of the ring and really starts yelling at Punk because there is some bad blood between these two. They really start hammering on each other, then Seth hits Punk with a ripcord knee, and a dazed Punk hits Rollins with a roundhouse kick. Punk shoves Rollins towards the ropes and attempts to lift him over, but Rollins pokes Punk in the eye and tries to shove him over the top rope. They push and shove for a while, each trying to get the advantage, but neither can get the elimination. They're both exhausted, but still punching each other out of pure hatred. And then Drew McIntyre runs and hits them both with a claymore, propelling them both over the top rope and eliminating Seth Rollins and CM Punk. McIntyre, who has quite a history with both men, blows them a kiss. And Punk and Rollins are both incredibly frustrated, start yelling at each other, and continue fighting on the outside. And now we have our final 4 of John Cena, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus. 37 world championships between them. Michael Cole shouts, "All of these men have won Royal Rumbles. Who's gonna win it tonight?" They all meet at the center and start punching each other. Cena and Randy get into it. McIntyre and Sheamus get into it. I think a fun spot could be McIntyre and Sheamus both going for big kicks to Cena and Orton, but they dodge and McIntyre and Sheamus kick each other's feet and go down. Then we get a full sequence of Orton and Cena, and it is just delightful. Cena hits some running shoulder tackles, but Orton counters with a dropkick. He sets up Cena for his power slam, but Cena hangs onto the ropes and hits a spinning powerbomb, and then hits a 5-knuckle shuffle onto Orton. Cena gets Orton up, who tries to jump for an RKO, but Cena throws him to the ground, then picks him up for an AA. Cena carries Orton to the ropes, and Orton is desperately clinging onto the top rope, but it's not enough, and Cena AAs Orton to the outside to eliminate him. Cena celebrates and turns around into Drew McIntyre, who hits Cena with a Future Shock DDT before picking him up, dumping him onto the apron, and hitting a Glasgow kiss to eliminate John Cena. Cena lands right next to Randy Orton, who stares and shakes his head before walking to the back, while Cena holds his head in his hands. McIntyre stands next to the ropes, looks down at Cena, and does the "you can't see me" emote. McIntyre turns around and sees Sheamus charging at him for a bro kick, but McIntyre barely dodges and just shakes his finger. That's not how this ends. Sheamus and McIntyre meet at the center of the ring, and they're talking and they're sweating before they start hitting big strikes on each other. Both men are exhausted coming from the 15th and 19th position, but they are just willing themselves to battle. Sheamus pushes back McIntyre and hits him with an Irish Curse backbreaker, then grabs him for a white noise, but McIntyre rakes the eyes. Sheamus turns around into a Glasgow kiss that stuns both men, but McIntyre gets the advantage and slowly tips Sheamus over the top rope onto the apron. Drew hits a punch, but Sheamus hangs on, and then another punch, but Sheamus hangs on, and then Drew goes for a third punch, but it's caught by Sheamus, and he hits Drew with 10 beats to the baldron before pulling McIntyre over the top rope onto the apron with him. They trade punches, yay, boo, yay, boo, before they back up. Drew is about to run forward for a Claymore to end this, but just before he can jump, Sheamus hits a bro kick that sends McIntyre to the floor. Sheamus has just won the Royal Rumble, and Fit Finlay comes out to celebrate with him, and also his wife, I guess. Sheamus looks up at the crowd, sees the skybox that Gunther is watching from, and points straight at him while Gunther throws a little fit. That's right, we are getting one final Sheamus versus Gunther match at WrestleMania. Rock, Roman, Cena, Orton, Punk, Drew, they don't need to win the Rumble to get a World Championship match. But I think Sheamus is the perfect, unexpected guy to get elevated into a main event push at Mania. Sheamus' path after this is obvious. He's facing Gunther at Mania, so you give him some little side feuds with Bronson Reed and Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus wins these, then goes on to battle the man he can never seem to beat for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match is incredible, and Sheamus beats the odds to beat his rival and get one final World Championship reign for his career that he greatly deserves. McIntyre is the grumpiest you've seen him since the last time you've seen him grumpy. He was so close to earning another shot at Mania Redemption, yet he came up just short. He lobbies for this and that, he's the Scottish Warrior, you know, before he becomes obsessed with John Cena. Cena might be the favorite to win the Rumble, and he's certainly not thrilled about Drew costing him a chance for his record title reign. McIntyre is obsessed with getting his WrestleMania moment and decides that retiring John Cena is his path. Cena rightfully calls Drew McIntyre crazy. Maybe they both go into Elimination Chamber and cost each other, and they feud and have an awesome match at Mania that I would actually have Drew McIntyre win. Sheamus can get a couple great months with the title, with short feuds against Bronson Reed, Ludwig Kaiser, Braun Breaker, and Chad Gable. Make the story of the reign be that each opponent slowly injures Sheamus. Bronson hurts Sheamus' ribs with a tsunami. Kaiser hurts Sheamus' back with a kick to the stairs. Breaker hurts his arm, I guess, and Gable really hurts his ankle. With all these injuries, McIntyre decides that he has earned a shot at the championship, and the injuries are just too much to overcome. Drew McIntyre is your new champion. Then you run back Cena versus McIntyre at SummerSlam, and Cena wins the title to break Ric Flair's record, and the John Cena Championship Open Challenge can return, and life is awesome. Randy is disappointed about coming up short at the Royal Rumble, and he's increasingly worried about his legacy. He feels old, he's scared after the piledriver, and he wants one more championship run. He enters the Elimination Chamber match to determine Cody's opponent at WrestleMania, and manages to win with some underhanded tactics. Maybe he hits Cena with a low blow or something. Cody congratulates him on the next SmackDown, and they have some silly tag match against A-Town Down Under before Orton hears voices in his head and turns mega heel on Cody Rhodes. During the feud, Orton calls Cody a nepo baby who wouldn't be in this company without Randy and got fired. Cody says, "Who you calling a nepo baby?" and calls Orton a snake that should have retired. Orton responds by slapping Cody's mom and punting Cody's dog, really make this the big dramatic feud. I'd have Randy win at Mania, get a new champion to freshen up the title picture, and let guys like LA Knight, Andrade, and maybe some Raw guys get a chance to have a chance in the spotlight before Cody probably wins it back at some point. The Rock is not happy that Roman eliminated him, and after it was robbed last year, we get The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania with your typical cinema bloodline shenanigans. They can have a 3-hour-long match that Reigns probably wins so Dwayne can go back to Hollywood. Rollins and Punk have been teasing a match since Punk returned to the company, so after the Rumble, these two really get feuding. I think it would be really fun if they were a tag team for like 2 weeks before they both immediately turn on each other and then properly feud and have an awesome WrestleMania match. Kevin Owens' powerbomb to the apron puts Sammy out for a few weeks, and Kevin is insufferable about it until Sammy returns and costs Kevin Owens the Elimination Chamber match. Kevin says that he's been good. He's been the good guy for 4 years, and it's only gotten him beatings and championship losses. Meanwhile, Sammy joined the Bloodline to get ahead, betrayed the Bloodline, and then won the tag titles and the Intercontinental Championship because of it. It's not fair, and Kevin Owens is right, kinda, but he's being a jerk about it, and Sammy says this. These two are eternal rivals, and 4 years after they fought at WrestleMania, and 2 years after they won the tag titles at WrestleMania, they fight again, but with Sammy as the underdog face, and Kevin as the angry, delusional heel. After Chad was eliminated by Otis, Gable cannot take the embarrassment of getting eliminated by his former number one guy. So on the Raw after the Rumble, Chad puts Otis in an ankle lock and breaks Otis's ankle. He tortures Tozawa for a couple weeks until Otis returns, challenges Gable to a match at Mania, and they get the WrestleMania match that they both deserve after the Alpha Academy breakup got mishandled. I'd have Otis win because it would be nice. Braun Breaker eliminated Damian Priest, and Priest isn't thrilled about it, and is one Intercontinental Championship away from being a Grand Slam champion. So after losing the Elimination Chamber match, he challenges Breaker for the IC belt at WrestleMania, but comes up just short. And that's a WrestleMania card of Gable versus Otis, Breaker versus Priest, Zayn versus Owens, McIntyre versus Cena, Reigns versus Rock, Punk versus Rollins, Orton versus Rhodes, and Sheamus versus Gunther. Throw in a US Championship ladder match, a tag team match or two, and a few women's matches, and boy, that sounds like a good WrestleMania to me. I hope you enjoyed me talking about wrestling for almost 45 minutes. It's a lot of fun to think about what I'd like to happen during the Royal Rumble, and while I don't think Sheamus will win, or most of this will actually happen, this shows off one possibility that I think would be pretty cool. I'll probably make another one of these sometime before the Rumble, maybe try to book a Women's Rumble eventually, so let me know if you want to see more of this and what you thought of my first mock Rumble. And check out my other channel, Scarlet Android, where I make videos about an awesome iOS strategy game called Two Spies. Thanks for watching.